Against Japan. That's tomorrow. Speaking ahead of that game, Pochettino kind of doubled down on what he just said there in the post-match after that defeat against South Korea, saying he's even more positive about the performance. I'm positive because the players trust in the process because they know that we have a plan. Do you see the plan, Kasey?
Nope. If that's, I want to be as optimistic as Pochettino. I know these games don't matter. I know the only thing that matters is the very first match of the World Cup. I hope that plan materializes for the rest of us to see at some stage, because I'm not quite sure what he's talking about, because the first half of that match against Korea, there was only one team in the match. And yes, there were situations where the U.S. had the ball, they did some things, but in both ends, Korea dominated this 100%. They get the second goal right before the half. You really felt like the first 10, 15 minutes of the second half, Korea was like, okay, let's see what happens here. And then I felt it was a training exercise.
Right.
Then it was the Korean coach saying, prove to me on the road you can keep a clean sheet. I don't care if you score another goal. Just keep a clean sheet. And then Korea looked extremely well organized. Yes, their goalkeeper made a couple nice saves late. But, yeah, I mean, I'm all for a coach that tries to say something to keep his players positive and all that. But if you honestly felt that first half you were the better side, then I'm not sure what he was watching.
I don't think he's filling anybody with any confidence whatsoever. I think he's all bluff and bluster at the moment because he's under pressure. Mm-hmm. Whether he cares or not about what happens and if it goes, I would presume he does. His record.
It's a real indictment.
Well, and you got to asterisk that
appalling
record as well. And I'll tell you in a second, Craig. Finish your point.
No, go on.
It was the Venezuela seaside.
Venezuela's seaside in a January camp, and it was the only away game was the one loss to Mexico in 2024. So those are all at home.
Wow.
Those are all at home, and against the Venezuela seaside in a January camp. So it's not like there's no Brazils there, there's no Spains, there's no Argentinas.
It's appalling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's appalling.
It's really concerning.
That is, if that continues, that's a red light flashing saying, sack me before the World Cup or we're going to be a disaster. Mm. It's exactly what I thought when he got the job. When we talked about this, and I honestly did feel, and I'm not just suggesting one person, but I honestly felt people like Jesse Marsh and others would have a much, much better understanding of the American player pool in its totality. To me, and I think Casey's on the same thing as me here, to me he does not understand the strengths and weaknesses of a big core of his pool. And he sort of bluffs his way through. And that's sad to see for a guy who's got a pretty decent resume, not of late. But even the interview he did last week for us, or for the Spanish, was it for us? Or?
No, it's for Spanish TV.
Spanish TV. And he kind of was very blasé about the result, saying, you know, when he laughed and chuckled and went, I can't score the goals. It was basically just saying, you know, everything I'm doing is great. The players are not good enough. Now, do America, the US men's national team, have the player pool that some of our colleagues and some other people in this business suggest they have? No. I don't think so.
No.
In fact, I don't think so. I know they don't. But they have some good players. Yeah. And they should be getting much better results in games like this in particular.
At home.
Than they are. You remember them at the World Cup in 2022, playing England. They were competitive. Mm-hmm. Yep. That was a 50-50 game, to be honest, against a talented England side.
U.S. had one good chance. Harry Kane had one good chance.
Yeah, but they were solid.
But they were there.
They did not look out of place.
Pick up on Craig, Stevie's point yesterday was, look, he's just dealing with a bad pool of players. It doesn't matter who the manager is. These sort of results are going to come because you just don't have the talent.
Well, that's not true.
It's not true.
That's not true.
It's not true.
We're not expecting them to win the World Cup. But I'll go back to the World Cup. Mm. Would you say at the moment this team would get out of a group? I don't think so. Whereas even with Berhalter and with Jurgen,
look at the group. Look at the group Jurgen got out of. Germany, the winners. Cristiano Ronaldo, Portugal, 11 years ago, and a Ghana that was a very good African side. You wouldn't have looked at that group and said, oh, the U.S. is going to get out of that.
Sure.
So they were able to overachieve, and then they pushed Belgium to extra time. I mean, right now I'm looking at a side that can't get a result. The one thing the U.S. has always done is surprise somebody. Every once in a while, we'll put in a result, and not against Korea, but against the Dutch, against England, against a Germany, against an Argentina, against a Brazil. These are okay sides that you can't beat at home consistently. Not have the shock one result. You looked at 7 or 8 results there in a year.
The US, to me, and they are nowhere near as bad, or should be, as these results suggest.
100%.
I think a lot of that is on the manager's selection of players.
Right.
But they're nowhere near as good as some people think they are.
Or should be.
Right? They're just not. You know, this golden generation, no. Like, screw your head on. But they're somewhere in the middle, where they should be at least solid, with a bit of flair, and able to get much better results than they are. That to me, and I'm not expecting them to go to a World Cup and be in a quarter-final or a semi-final, but I'm at least expecting them, having watched them at some major tournaments, and know that the players that they have, and some of the players are playing at a good standard, at a good level, to be at least better than they've been under Pochettino. Because that graphic we put up is a slight on his record as the coach of this national team.